In End Time Bible Prophecy. The Bible is mostly about lands like Egypt and Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Greece, Turkey, Rome, Europe. But what about China? How does China fit into the Bible or Bible prophecy? Well, in Daniel 11, verse 44 and 45, the last verses of that chapter, the invasion of Israel is taking place, and by Russia, and then it says the king of the north, talking about the ruler of Russia, the Antichrist. He will hear rumors from the east and from the north, and will be enraged and go forth to destroy many and annihilate many. Now, what is it talking about? Well, the context is not just the Russian-led invasion of Israel. Before that happens, in verse 41 of Daniel 11, something else happens in verse 40, which is the Russian invasion and conquest of Western Europe, and by extension, it's Russia bombs America, because Russia cannot be expected to invade Europe and let America come to the aid of Europe like it's supposed to do as the leader of NATO. No, it would be only natural for Russia to bomb America, a preemptive strike, before invading Europe. That only makes good sense. Especially when you consider that Russia has tricked America into disarming so that Russia can get away with bombing America without being destroyed in return by our retaliatory strike. Our retaliatory arsenal is now so small that we cannot deliver on our threat to retaliate if Russia attacks us. So our threat to retaliate no longer strikes fear into the heart of the people in the Kremlin. Now, why don't our congressmen and senators complain about the shrinkage of our arsenal? Well, first of all, it's not that our government has torn up our arsenal or gotten rid of it, cut it in pieces. No. It's a very deceptive disarmament. Our bombers are still there. They look strong. They look capable, but they're worthless. They're basically scarecrows because they're not ready to take off within 6 minutes. So if Russia was to bomb within 6 minutes, our bombers would be destroyed. Also, our ICBMs, they're not ready to take off. The policy that Clinton brought in, he changed the policy back in the 90s, and ever since then, our ICBMs, our ballistic missiles, are useless because Clinton's new policy was to wait until we felt the Russian bombs caused vibrations in the ground as our ICBM silos were being attacked. That's when we would launch our bombers. Our submarine missiles. We would communicate to our submarines, and they would deliver our retaliation. In other words, instead of having a 3 three-legged stool, a three-legged retaliation called a triad. We're actually down to a monad. But the Democrats don't admit that, and the Republicans, who are supposed to be the watchdogs, keeping watch over the Democrats and exposing what the Democrats are trying to do, they're not blowing the whistle on the Democrats. They're like patsies. You know, if a woman is being raped, she's supposed to scream. But when a woman keeps her mouth shut, it's like because she's afraid of getting hit in the mouth. You know, that's pitiful. And this country, the Republicans, they're afraid of being cussed out by the Democrats, by the news media, if they blow the whistles on the Democrats. And it's pitiful that the Republicans are letting the Democrats get away when they were in office, when they had Democratic presidents, like Clinton, for example. He got away with destroying our nuclear triad because it's no longer a triad, it's down to a monad. All we have left is our submarine missiles, which would be enough, except for the fact that instead of keeping our submarines, they cut back all the way down to 12. We have 12 submarines when we used to have 39 under Reagan. It's unbelievable. Okay, getting back to China. How is China, how does China show up in end-time Bible prophecy? Well, I'm telling you that the rumors from the north in Daniel 11, verse 44, is talking about the fact that China, once they see Russia knock off America and take Western Europe, they're getting ready to go to war against Russia. Why? Because they know that Russia's coming after them after Russia digests Western Europe. So China says, why wait until Russia is ready? Why not catch Russia off balance? And whatever China can do, they're doing it in preparation for an attack on Russia. Well, Russia, it says in verse 44, the leader of Russia, the king of the north, is getting ready, getting furious, and getting ready to kill and annihilate many. So that means he's getting ready to go after China. And so that's why Christ cuts the tribulation short. He says if he didn't cut it short, no flesh would be saved. No flesh would survive. He's exaggerating, of course. He's indulging in hyperbole, but it's hyperbole that is based on serious facts, that the Russian-Chinese war would be a super destructive war. And so that's where China appears in Bible prophecy about the end time. Now Christ says he will shorten the tribulation for the sake of the elect. That would mean the church in China, in Russia. Why would he do that for the church? Because the church in China and Russia have suffered overwhelming persecution. Not 100% of the time. There have been times when persecution was limited, but then there are other times that make up for those hopeful times, and the persecution got hot, and Chinese Christians died, or they were sent in prison. Christians in Russia were killed, beat up, and they were put in prison. And so Christ, feels he hates to see any more suffering. And so he's only doing, he's only acting like a God should. I hope that I'm reaching, with this video and other videos, people in China, people in Russia, people that they can keep their videos. The EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that will destroy the computers in America at the time of Russian attack. I hope EMP does not reach countries like South America, the countries in South America and Africa and China and Australia. So if you have any comments, in the 2 or 3 days we have left before May 19th or 20th, please try to email me or try to email other people and spread the send the link to these videos around so the word can get out. The main word to pass out is the fact the tribulation will only last 5 months, from mid-May to mid-October. And that's the good news. And Christ comes in October. Feast of Tabernacles. It even mentions Feast of Tabernacles in Zechariah 14, verse 16. And that whole chapter is about the second coming. So why would they mention that the whole world will celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles after the second coming? Well, the logical explanation is they won't be celebrating the old meaning of the Feast of Tabernacles. They'll be celebrating the new meaning which the second coming will give the Feast of Tabernacles. And the second coming will mean world conversion, global conversion, 5 billion people being converted on top of the 2 billion that are already Christians. And so that's my hope. If you have any comments, please email me at joegracegrace@gmail.com. joegracegrace@gmail.com. JOEGRACE GRACE.